When a marriage ends, people usually think the conflict begins with the paperwork, but it doesn't. The battle starts long before that, in the moment when one person feels devalued, not attacked, not disagreed with, just dismissed. That's when reason goes out the window and pride takes over. It's the instant someone thinks, you don't see me, you don't respect me. I've watched this moment happen countless times in divorce cases. A husband says, she never appreciated everything that I built. A wife says, he never noticed everything that I gave up. Neither one is really talking about property or money. They're fighting for acknowledgement, for proof that they actually mattered. Once that sense of value is threatened, every conversation becomes a defense of identity. The words shift from what's fair to how dare you. And from there, the divorce process can turn into a never-ending loop of emotional retribution. Here's the uncomfortable truth. People don't fight because they want to be right. They fight because they refuse to feel small. That insight has legal consequences because the courtroom can divide property and assign custody, but it cannot restore dignity. And when dignity is what's really at stake, no ruling ever feels like justice. I once represented a man who obsessed over proving every last point, every receipt, every accusation, every insult. He won nearly everything he asked for, but afterwards he told me, I still don't feel like victory. And he was right, because the deeper fight hadn't been about the law at all. Another client, a woman, followed my advice and took a different approach. She came to understand that her ex's anger wasn't really about the car or the house. It was about his own hurt pride. So when the text came in from her husband, full of blame and venom, I told her not to answer in kind. Instead, we decided her answers would be some variant of, let's keep this between the attorneys. Following this plan, she protected her peace and her case moved swiftly and cleanly. That's the difference between people who survive divorce and people who get consumed by it. The survivors learn to separate the legal problem from the emotional problem. They stop trying to win the argument of who's the better person and start focusing on practical outcomes. So if you're facing a separation, remember this. The conflict doesn't begin with the filing of the petition. It begins the moment someone feels unseen. If you can stay respectful, measured, and calm, even when the other person refuses to, you take away the oxygen that fuels the fire. And that's not just psychology, that's strategy. Every unnecessary outburst, every emotional email, every late night rant costs you leverage, time, and money. Your best legal move is often the simplest one. Don't let her pride dictate your behavior. Before you send that next text, before you speak that next cutting line, ask yourself, am I trying to resolve the problem or am I trying just not to feel small? One of those paths leads to resolution. The other leads to years of fighting.